I have a bladder infection.
Welcome to the Third Wind channel, where today we're going to talk about the 5 most viewed episodes of iCarly of all time. The data will be based on the Nielsen ratings, which is an organization which counts viewership for shows on TV. But without further ado, let's get into the 5th most watched iCarly episode of all time, I Go to Japan. This was the 5th episode of Season 2, and it amassed a whopping 7,600,000 views, the most ever for iCarly up until this point. Not only was it the most watched iCarly episode, but also it was the 2nd most viewed Nickelodeon broadcast of all time at that point. Up until this point of iCarly, back in the day, there hadn't been an episode over an hour, let alone a full movie-length episode, because this was really 3 episodes put together. So the hype was real, and they advertised it super hard. I remember growing up, I was super excited for this episode to come out. And it really was great. It was everything advertised and more for me. At the time, it was like the most exciting movie on Nickelodeon I'd ever seen. And I think it was definitely also my favorite thing to come from iCarly up until this point. I remember my favorite scene from this movie was at the very end when the iCarly gang are trying to explain to the Japanese guards that they are famous and they need to be on stage, and they act it all out with charades, and it's just the funniest thing. I Go to Japan, definitely one of my fondest episodes of the past, so I'd say it's probably in my top 10 or even top 5. Next up, the 4th most watched iCarly episode ever is I Got a Hot Room. This episode was the first episode of Season 4, and it premiered to 7,750,000 viewers. If the episode title doesn't sound familiar to you, this is the episode where it's Carly's birthday, and of course the birthday curse continues with her room burning down, but Spencer rebuilds a super cool new room for her, and that's how the season starts. I'm honestly really surprised this episode made the top 5 out of all the ones I have here on my list. It's kind of a standout one because it isn't necessarily like a super memorable episode compared to the other ones, but maybe it's because it was kind of peak time for iCarly, and the new 4th season was coming off that really hot 3rd season where iCarly really peaked. Nonetheless, we got a new location for the show. We got Carly's room, which we had never really seen before, so that was fun. But if anyone remembers this time really well and can explain to me like why maybe this episode did so well, just let me know, and just share your experiences generally in the comments, growing up, the anticipation for these episodes, because it would be really fun to hear your guys' kind of experience. At number 3, we have a Season 2 episode. It's I Fight Shelby Marks. This episode was the season finale for Season 2, and it premiered to 7 million, almost 900,000 viewers. I remember seeing the ads for this growing up, and obviously Victoria Justice is a familiar face, and then I see Carly and her in the ring, and it was just very intriguing, and it made you want to watch the episode. This also being a double episode, so 2 episodes put together, and Neville being involved, it's just all the elements you need for a big episode. And I think it's kind of crazy how iCarly kind of predicted the influencer boxing thing that's going on right now. And with Carly hugging the leg and everything like that, it's just, it's really cool. I don't know what to say. So the next 2 episodes premiered one after another, and they are the 2nd and 3rd most watched things on Nickelodeon ever. So now we head into Season 3, Episode 8, called I Quit iCarly. With a title like that, obviously you're going to intrigue viewers. It's like as clickbait as it gets, and the episode got 8,850,000 views. I remember at the time watching the ads for this episode, they made it feel like this was the last episode of iCarly, like, they're quitting. That's it. So obviously that makes for great advertising, but also the episode delivers. It's a great episode. And following the trend, those 1-hour specials really do deliver in terms of viewership, because this one was also a double episode. The most memorable thing from this episode is obviously that really crazy scene where Carly and Sam are standing on this rig, and it kind of breaks, and one of them is hanging off the edge to their death, which is just a very intense moment. And now, lastly, the most viewed episode of iCarly of all time was I Saved Your Life. This was the 10th episode of Season 3 of iCarly, and it was viewed over 11 million times, making it the 2nd most streamed thing on Nickelodeon ever. And honestly, it might have been the best episode of the original. Ever since the very first episode of iCarly, they instilled one thing into her head. Freddie loves Carly, right? That's kind of the premise of the whole show in the beginning. So when we finally get that payoff, and obviously they're advertising this, everyone tuned in. This was really maybe the most important moment in iCarly. The feelings and emotions that you got while watching this episode the first time were just so exciting because you'd never really seen anything quite like this on iCarly. It was just really exciting. I'm not surprised by the slightest that this is the most viewed episode of iCarly ever, but some of the other episodes surprised me a little bit. Like, if I were to rank the top 10 best episodes of or the original ever, there's some different episodes I would put in here, but let me know if you guys were surprised by any of these, and what are your favorite original iCarly episodes. But that about does it for this video. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoy the videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.